All right, welcome. Today, we're going to break down a really powerful way of looking at life's biggest opportunities and, how they tend to show up decade by decade.
So, let's just dive right in with a huge question, right? Is there some kind of roadmap for life? A way to know what you should be focused on and when?
Well, according to the philosophy we're digging into today, the answer is yes. Life basically hands you three big, distinct opportunities, and each one is pretty much tied to a specific decade. Okay, so here's the game plan. We're going to walk through this whole roadmap. First, we'll get the big picture of these three chances. Then we'll zoom in on your 20s, your 30s, and your 40s. And finally, we'll talk about what all of this is building towards, the ultimate purpose.
And this really lays it all out, doesn't it? Your 20s are all about building your foundation. Then, your 30s are for building your network. Your 40s? That's when you start acquiring resources. And your 50s and beyond? Well, that's when you finally get to your true purpose.
So let's get into our first section and see where this all kicks off. The first huge opportunity lands in your 20s, and it is laser-focused on just one thing. And here's the thing you've got to get about your 20s. They are not for getting rich. They are for getting smart. Your one and only goal should be to just soak up knowledge, learn new skills, and build a rock-solid foundation of what you can do.
So, you're at a crossroads. The right path is to just go for learning, even if you're broke for a while. The trap? That's chasing the high-paying job or some get-rich-quick scheme right out of the gate.
And the source material gives a pretty blunt warning about this. It says any money you make when you're young, without that foundation of skill, it's temporary. It's basically a lesson you have to pay for, because you are absolutely going to lose it. Okay, so you've put in the work. You spent your 20s building that foundation. Now, as you roll into your 30s, the second big opportunity shows up, and your focus has to shift completely. This decade is all about what this philosophy calls love study. And it's not just about, professional networking. It's about genuinely learning how people tick, how to connect, understand, and build real bonds with good people.
And look, we're back at that same fork in the road, just in a different decade. Do you take all those skills you built and use them to build a community? Or do you get sucked into the trap of just chasing money, which, by the way, tends to isolate you?
And if you pick the wrong path in your 30s, wow, the fallout is brutal. You won't just fail to build those important relationships, you won't even get the money you were chasing. You literally end up with nothing to show for it.
All right, this is where it all comes together. After 2 decades of groundwork, if you've been on the right path, your 40s are when the third huge opportunity appears, the chance to gain real, actual power. See how this works? It's like a chain reaction. The knowledge you got in your 20s makes you valuable to the quality people you meet in your 30s. Then that network, the one you built on competence and trust, starts bringing you information and opportunities. And that is what leads to real, lasting economic power and influence in your 40s. And this is super important. This decade is the big finish line for everything you've worked for so far. It's the final stage of building and getting. Because after this, your whole purpose in life is about to do a 180, shifting from gaining to giving. So, we've finally arrived. We've reached the ultimate goal of this entire journey. After decades of building, your 50s and beyond are about giving. But trust me, it's not what you probably think it is. Now here's a really key idea. True giving isn't just charity. It's not about writing a check and walking away. It's about actively using your power, your skills, your knowledge, your influence to actually create value for other people. Yeah, think of it like this. Money's not the prize you give away. It's the gas in your tank. It's the fuel that lets you use your power. If you just give all your fuel away, your engine stops, and you can't really help anyone in a meaningful way anymore. I mean, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? Just wanting to help isn't enough. To make a real impact, to actually serve other people, you first have to build your own strength. You have to acquire your own power. And get this, true giving isn't a drain on you at all. It's actually a virtuous cycle that makes you more powerful. You give value, that value creates some kind of return, that return increases your power, and now you can go help even more people in an even bigger way. The system grows instead of shrinks.
So, when you boil it all down, this whole roadmap doesn't just give you a to-do list for your life. It leaves you with one final, massive question. It suggests the first 50 years of your life are about building your power. The rest of it is about deciding how you're going to use it. So what's your answer going to be?